Good evening. Welcome to Have I Got News For You. I'm David Tennant. In the news this week, there's a disappointing turnout at the anniversary celebrations to mark Keir Starmer's first year as Labour leader. In Westminster, after Boris Johnson texts his ministers to say first one to the cabinet meeting gets to sit next to me, Michael Gove and Matt Hancock tried to pretend they don't care who wins. It's lunchtime at a care home in Plymouth, and residents are having trouble getting into the watermelon. On Ian's team tonight is a comedian and host of Radio 4's I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue. Coincidentally, the working title for Boris's roadmap out of lockdown. Please welcome Jack Dee. And with Paul tonight is a journalist and author who, when previously appearing on this show, placed her own book prominently on the bookshelf behind her. A blatant piece of product placement that led to the BBC insisting that we never mention it again. Even though Difficult Women, A History of Feminism in 11 Fights is now available in paperback, just $7.49. Please welcome Helen Lewis. You've all done this before, but I'm new to the whole plastic sheeting situation and the audience on a small screen.
I haven't done plastic sheets before. How dare you?
Is this where you thought we'd be in April 2021?
This is where I think we'll be in April 2094. Actually, no, Jack's doing gloom tonight. I'm doing positive.
Yeah, keep it light, Ian. Make my job easier.
Jazz hands at the end of every answer.
Good.
Lots.
That lifts everything, doesn't it? And we've got a virtual audience, of course, from around the world joining us. There they all are. Look at them. Hello, everybody.
Go for
That's
that.
very good to hear. Because the
Thank
sound
you.
we heard in the studio was like somebody trying to get sauce out of a bottle in a crematorium.
We begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Paul and Helen,
Yes.
have a look at this.
Well, this is Boris Johnson trying to stir up some enthusiasm for the vaccine programme. Perhaps not wise to suggest he might be involved in any part of it. And that's Matt Hancock doing parkour. I don't know why.
This is a roadmap out of where we are at the moment.
Well, yes, this is indeed the news that Boris Johnson is still following the coronavirus roadmap. So what will Boris Johnson and indeed the rest of us be doing on April the 12th?
We're allowed to go into shops again, aren't we? So
Yes.
non-essential shops are being opened, so there's going to probably be a mad rush for people to do all kinds of things which they've not been able to do for the last year. Buy shoes, plimsolls, that sort of... Do they still sell plimsolls? Ian, I'm looking at you.
And Boris will be cautiously but irreversibly raising a pint of beer to my lips.
I can't really see Boris drinking beer. I'd say he was a red wine sort of man. What would you say, Ian?
Yeah, I think mostly red wine spilt over a sofa. I think he's trying to look normal.
Really?
Here's another layer of restrictions lifts on Monday. Everyone will finally be allowed to use a pub toilet and not keep shitting in the bushes of Wandsworth Common. Some businesses will be making the most of being allowed to offer an outdoor service. Now, do you know which outlet in Winchester will have its entire seating full and why?
It's not the man who built a chalet in his pub garden. It was just another pub in the pub garden, is it?
It's not. I mean, you're very unlikely to get this.
Right.
It's Pie Caramba in Winchester. Because it's only got one table and it's outside. But to be honest with you, we're covering this because it's called Pie Caramba and they have a bit of a penchant for a pun at Pie Caramba. So what do you think its offering of two pies piled one on top of the other is called?
Leaning Tower Pisa.
Oh, so close. Move across Europe.
I can't go any further than that due to current restrictions.
It's the Pieful Tower. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Comes with mushy peas or baked beans. Very French. Back to the roadmap. What's the slight bump in the road?
Not the AstraZeneca vaccine, is it?
Well, yes, there are wobbles.
There seems to be some possible connection with blood clots. It's very, very rare.
Yes,
They're saying that people under the age of 30 perhaps should try another vaccine.
yes. There is still only a 1 in a million chance of dying from a vaccine-related blood clot. As you say,
Yes.
it's incredibly rare, but...
The real danger is surely that politicians are looking at the facts and then changing their minds and changing the policies to do something sensible. And if that catches on, I think we're in for a terrible, terrible shock.
Are you still being light, Ian? Is this you being light?
Yeah, this is me being light. This is me being uppy.
The jazz hands were missing when you said...
Oh, sorry, no, because I haven't washed them.
I like the way it turned into a contest between all the ministers about other things that are incredibly risky. Like, they could all name things that are like, oh, it's much worse to go upstairs, or much worse to take the contraceptive pill, something you'd think Boris Johnson would be more aware of.
And they keep analysing the risk. They say it's the equivalent of driving for 250 miles. I mean, that's all the way to Durham.
I've had my vaccine, right? I'm a little bit annoyed because I genuinely didn't feel a thing. And there was me saying, oh, thank you very much, it's brilliant. And on the way out, I thought, well, how do I know they've actually done it? I didn't have a sore arm, didn't have any side effects at all. As far as they could have been taking the piss. I just thought, well, they're low on doses. If we don't like the look of him, let's not give him an injection.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've had nothing. I might not have, but I've been told I have. See...
I knew you'd find a miserable angle.
Did they give you a little sticker, at least?
I wanted a I've been brave sticker. I think that would have been good. That would have sort of, you know... Obviously, there were 4 of them holding me down at the time.
Well, all these AstraZeneca wobbles have got us another metaphor from Jean-Claude Van Damme to go with his one about penalties, trains and yoghurt. It's a massive beast we are driving along at enormous speed. You don't sail an enormous liner across the Atlantic without making a course correction.
But course correction, how are you spelling that? It could be fuck me, turned left.
But also, I mean, the Europeans have been kicking up. I mean, and with impeccable logic. I mean, both Macron and Merkel have said, you know, this is very dangerous, this vaccine, and you're not giving us enough of it. Which is very convincing.
Yes, so there is a possibility of a third wave. Different scientists have published mathematical models of a probable third or fourth wave, including Professor Neil Ferguson's Department of Pessimism at Imperial College London. Here's a diagram. I mean, clearly there's a low, much less scary line on there that says likely scenario, but all the headlines are about the third wave that will be as bad as the one we had in January. The big blue line there. Are the scientists to blame, or is that the media for focusing on the worst possible news there? Why did journalists do that, Ian?
What, try and make a story out of it?
Yeah, yes, exactly.
I think the scientists have decided that the Prime Minister doesn't listen to them unless they really, really overdo it.
Right.
So that when you have the official briefing, Boris says, well, I think we might come out of lockdown, and then the two either side say, no, you're all going to die. Die.
Right.
And then there's a happy balance between Boris's view and theirs.
Right.
I think that's what we're trying to achieve now.
See, Ian, I think that would have been so much more effective if you said, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. That's it.
Does anyone know why the politics editor of the Liverpool Echo, Liam Thorpe, aged 32 with no underlying health conditions, was offered the vaccine?
Oh, yes.
They thought his BMI was incredibly high because they thought he was 2 inches tall.
Yes.
He had an astonishingly high BMI of 28,000, which is 1,000 times the average.
Relatable after lockdown.
Yeah. Due to him weighing 17.5 stone and his GP surgery listing his height as 6.2 centimetres. Despite that blip, though, what has Boris attributed the success of the vaccination rollout to?
Greed.
Yes.
Was one of them, wasn't it?
Was it? Yeah.
Greed and capitalism.
Yes, which, again, a lot pointed out afterwards. In the case of the AstraZeneca vaccine, neither of those were involved. It was public investment and then a rollout volunteer programme. But, again, the fact that he's telling lies is not important. It shows that he just watches lots of old Michael Douglas films, doesn't he? He's sitting there watching Wall Street going, this is good, I'd like to wear those braces. Oh, look, the scene in the back of the car. God, I'd like that. I think people overestimate Boris. They think he's reading classical texts at home. He isn't. He's watching old 80s films. Oh, look, she's putting the bunny in the saucepan.
I have to say, I haven't seen either of these films, but I'm quite enjoying... I feel like I don't need to now.
Oh, right, no. Well, let me tell you...
Can you do Taxi Driver?
Get in the back.
You got to keep your hands on the wheel.
Why was the Prime Minister so keen to withdraw his comment about greed and capitalism?
It's nice to hear that he's withdrawn. That's a first.
I heard that when he went to get vaccinated, Carrie Simmons had him microchipped as well. So you can keep an eye on him. He does look like he is just never not having sex at some point. I think that's why his hair's always tousled up. That he's just always been having sex 5 minutes ago when you see him. I reckon the longest he ever went without having sex was when he was stuck on that zip wire.
Back on the road map, rather neatly, it also has a traffic light system. The green light will mean that's for safe countries, no quarantine on return.
Yeah.
Amber, medium risk, quarantine at home. Red for countries with high infection rates where you'll be forced to quarantine on your return in an approved hotel at your own expense. And then Brazil, there's a skull and crossbones.
But it doesn't work the other way. I was fascinated to find out that we're letting in thousands of tourists. You can come from just about anywhere, can't you?
Yeah, yeah. And but the thing is, I don't understand what tourism is open now. I mean, you can go and walk along London's finest empty streets.
Well, it was a good time to visit somewhere when it isn't that busy. And the other advantage is that a lot of the restaurants are closed, and they're not that good here, let's face it.
But you're right, we can still be fined for leaving the country without a good reason. 5,000 quid, in fact, you can be fined. But entry rules for foreigners arriving in Britain seem to be quite lax. One visa was granted to a tourist from Peru who gave their reason for visiting as Visit Big Ben, which is a very upsetting story because this is what they'll see.
Is it Paddington by any chance? Just come to see Big Ben, see if it's still there, how it used to be in the old days. Got my marmalade sandwiches, so I don't need the restaurants.
You see, this is properly liked, Paul.
Yes, it is. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, bears on holiday.
Yeah, it makes a change.
So what is the government proposing as the solution to all our COVID problems? What's going to unlock it all?
Passports.
There you go.
Passport.
Vaccine passport, yes.
Yeah. I don't think you need to do that. All you have to do is punch people on the arm, and if they scream, you know they've got a jab.
Well, not you, apparently.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't happen to. I didn't have the jab, did I? I went along, I rolled my sleeve up, I was very brave. I looked away, and they said, all done? Yeah, sure. I just say I think they should make the injections hurt a bit more, so we all know we've had one.
Yeah. They should start recruiting unqualified people.
Yes, I'll do it. I'll do it, and it'll hurt like buggery.
Well, I think that goes in the arm, to be honest.
That's what they did wrong.
Before the vaccine passports come in, there are going to be some test events across the country, see if we can open up safely. One major event was able to complete its final after long COVID delay. Do you know what that was?
Chess? Not a chess tournament?
You're in the right world. It was the University Challenge final.
Ah.
Which finally completed, in which Warwick University's ancient postgraduates beat Magdalen College Cambridge's ancient postgraduates. But it went a lot smoother than the Icelandic version, University Challenge. Have a look at this.
Are they allowed to confer at that point? Do we know what happened? Well, we saw what happened, but do you know why?
A recent contestant reacted when his opponent got a question right. That was it. They make it look snazzier than our version, though, don't they?
Yeah.
This is the easing of COVID restrictions. Bad news for everyone hoping for a third series of BBC smash hit lockdown series staged. But fingers crossed, the pandemic could still all go wrong again. Monday will also see the reopening of hairdressers, many of whom have undergone COVID retraining, presumably learning to ask customers, not going anywhere nice for your holidays again, mate. One tourist from Peru came just to see Big Ben. According to the paperwork, he arrived on flight number BA2238. I think that was the flight number. That could have been the lethal new variant that he brought with him. According to the current roadmap, Britons will only be able to travel to countries with a similarly high level of vaccination rate, which, according to this chart, means we can only go to Israel. So, Cleethorpes for the Corbyns. As you can see, Israel is top with 61%, which is pretty much everyone there, if you ignore the Arab population, which they do. So they're done. Some theme parks have taken the opportunity to upgrade their rides during the COVID pandemic. For example, the water ride at Thorpe Park now has a massive third wave machine. Ian and Jack, take a look at this.
Birthday party.
Year of Starmer.
Yeah, Keir is a magician's assistant in his spare time. He's another one's been conned.
So it's a year of Starmer.
A year of Keir, indeed. The first anniversary of Keir Starmer becoming Labour leader and successfully bringing the party together in thinking that he's not doing a very good job. What have been the highlights, do you think, of Keir Starmer's first year?
Well, he's the leader of the opposition, is he?
That's right, yeah.
He's been doing it for a year now,
Yeah.
and it's probably the toughest time ever in peacetime to become leader of the opposition, because basically everyone wants the government to succeed, because everyone knows if they don't, we die. And so if you're going to be opposition, you can't say, we're the opposition. We actually think everyone should die, because that's fair.
I would say there are two problems with that. One is that everybody wants the government to succeed. That's apart from the other people in the government who want it to fail so that they can take over. So they're internal problems. What I particularly like is the left are saying now, I mean, for heaven's sake, look at Starmer. Why can't we have someone passionate, committed, socialist, with a beard, who properly lead the Labour Party? Whereas a year ago they were saying, what we need is someone boring, who lives in London, who's a lawyer, who's competent. They choose someone who's boring, lives in London, is a lawyer, who's quite common, and say, oh, look at him, metropolitan, smart-ass, do-goody lawyer, hopeless. It's a difficult party to please.
Very. For him, it's been like sort of winning the Eurovision or something, isn't it? You get chosen to represent your country in the Eurovision. You're excited for about 20 minutes, and then in the cab on the way home, you think, oh, God, what have I done?
According to the Times, one shadow cabinet minister said, Keir inherited a sinking ship and he's managed to keep it afloat. So, that's good.
He always looks like he's just been crying.
I mean, if you were leader of the Labour Party, you would be crying.
You would be crying.
So we've got Boris Johnson, who looks like he's just had sex, and we've got Keir Starmer, who looks like he's just been crying. Are these two things connected in any way?
I hadn't put it together until you said that. I think we're getting somewhere with it now.
Finally.
This week, Keir Starmer pledged to take something off. What was it?
Take his mask off.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, I can see why he was going for the literal thing, but that's what you do when you're a villain at the end of Scooby-Doo.
Yes, he did. He said, I'm going to take my mask off and open the throttle. But here's the thing, when it comes to Keir Starmer's record as leader, Kate Green gave him 10 out of 10. So, Kate Green.
Well, I'm always a big fan of Kate Green, and to have her support must mean the world.
Yeah. Kate Green's job is?
She gives points for things.
She's the Shadow Education Secretary. But to be fair, why would we have heard much from the Shadow Education Secretary? I mean, it's not easy to find fault with the way Gavin Williamson's been doing his job, is it? And meanwhile, what have all politicians of every stripe seemingly become obsessed with recently?
Oh, flags.
Here they are, Dominic Raab and a flag, Priti Patel and a flag, Kwasi Kwarteng and a flag. Unfortunately, Minister for Culture Oliver Dowden didn't get the email.
I noticed Boris has managed to announce a cut in the number of the British Armed Forces in front of a flag. Hurrah for us, sorry. 10,000 of you on the dole, and we've got the smallest army ever. That's patriotism in action.
Who got quizzed over his lack of flags?
Was it a guy with a flag shop that had run out?
It was actually BBC Director General Tim Davie. Here he is being interrogated by Conservative MP for North West Norfolk, James Wilde, and my goodness, he is.
In the report you published last week, the BBC across the UK, again, how many images were there of the Union Jack in that?
Well, I could hazard a guess based on where the question's going, but I haven't looked.
Yeah, again, it was none. So maybe in the annual report for this year, perhaps you could include some imagery around the Union flag.
Is he speaking from inside a prison? Because you've got that little portcullis in the corner.
He hasn't got any bloody flags,
No,
either.
he's not got a flag.
He should have a flag tattooed on his forehead if he loves this country.
He's wild, that James Wilde, isn't he? Not having any flags on the set here, we might get the BBC in trouble again.
Yes.
So I might see what I can do about that. That's better! There you are.
It just looks like a pawn shop now.
God, and this is genuine Friday night satire.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of that.
Yeah.
Who wants to play a quick game of how much of your money have I had?
Yeah, go on then.
Heavily sanitised fingers on buzzers. Here we
Yes. Go
go.
on then.
Oh, yes.
That was
Jack.
That was Jennifer. Of course, she had 10 grand, didn't she?
Higher.
Yes.
Is it higher, is it?
Higher.
I thought I started at 10. The first time round, it was 10 grand. And she was doing so well, it just went up and up and up. She ended up with a full Cortina.
I thought it was 120, 126.
Yes, that's what I've got. Around £126,000 in government grants. And has just confirmed that she and Boris Johnson did indeed have an affair while he was Mayor of London.
They what?
Yes. She was not providing IT support like we all believed, turns out. Boris has never admitted to the affair, but Ms. Arcuri has revealed that as foreplay, the two of them would recite Shakespeare. Boris was always keen to see her Titania.
Well done for avoiding Coriolanus.
During the affair, she accompanied him on taxpayer-funded foreign trade trips and was given £126,000 in government grants. A conflict of interests, perhaps.
Yeah.
Well, not for Boris. It was a confluence of interests. Wasting public money and having sex outside your marriage. I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect.
Yes.
It'd be more amazing if he was caught with his trousers up.
Is this the first mention on the BBC of this story? Because on the whole, they've avoided it on the grounds that it's rather bad taste. And I agree. I just think we should maybe scrap this bit.
Yes.
I don't think it works, do you?
Hopefully they'll cut it out,
Yes,
edit, and no one needs to know.
Yeah.
I agree.
OK, fingers on buzzers, please. Yeah. And once again, I ask you, how much of your money have I had?
Is it their lovely redecoration of the number 11 flat?
There you go, that's it. The makeover of Boris Johnson's flat in Downing Street, the cost of which is now thought to be around £200,000. Yes, but please don't worry. Only 30,000 of that will be public money. Will Boris be forking out the rest out of his own pocket?
They're trying to raise it in some charity deal, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think they're going to crowdfund it.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you consider a crowd a group of Russian oligarchs on holiday.
The Prime Minister is hoping it will be paid for by a new charity backed by Tory party donors. That's fine, isn't it?
Backed by Labour Party donors.
Tory party.
Tory party donors.
Oh, God, I thought the Labour Party is getting quite
Yes, this restyled decor is said to have been inspired by eco-interior designer Lulu Little. There she is, whose style is described as squat chic.
It's more sort of Ottoman knocking shop, isn't it?
Ottoman knocking shop, can I help you?
Let's have one final spin of the randomizer. How much of your money have I had?
Oh.
Oh,
Helen?
I think it's £2 million for the Downing Street briefing room.
Oh, higher than a 2.
Is it?
Yes.
2.6, wasn't it? It was 2.6, I remember.
2.6 for the Downing Street briefing room, that's right. It does sound a lot, 2.6 million, but the Cabinet Office has said the price included audiovisual equipment, internet infrastructure, electrical works and lighting. So that's a slide projector, broadband, plug sockets and a lamp.
There's a Russian firm involved, isn't there?
Yes, there is. Do you know what they fitted?
They definitely didn't plant any bugs, that's for sure.
No, they wouldn't have done that.
It seems unlikely, but they did fit the microphones and the cameras. How did the Cabinet Office defend the creation of this new briefing room? Do you know what they've said?
Well, they said at least we didn't let the Chinese do it.
They said this spending is in the public interest as the new broadcasting of lobby briefings will increase transparency, which is good because the cost was only revealed after a Freedom of Information request by the Press Association. And finally, which former politician is making his own money in an exciting new venture?
Is it Nigel Farage?
It
He's
is,
done it,
yes.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's doing his greeting card sort of business thing. Is he? Where you do a personalised message for people?
Personalised video message,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Cameo.
It's one step up from OnlyFans, anyway. I like everyone pretending they don't know what that is. Well done. That's a site where gentlemen can watch ladies in various states of undress for
What's
money.
it called?
Is probably Nigel Farage's next venture, because he seems very keen on Cameo.
Nobody wants to watch Nigel Farage taking his clothes off. I don't believe
I believe there are several women who would say otherwise.
Oh.
But that's out of a world population of how many?
It's about the same risk as a blood clot.
Yes, Nigel Farage is charging £75 a pop to send a personal message to you or a loved one. Let's go to Nigel to hear him explain some more.
Surprise someone with a cameo message from me, Nigel Farage. And if they're a Brexiteer, it could be a birthday, a wedding, an anniversary, and I will cheer them up. But also, if you know somebody that's a Meghan Markle supporting woke warrior Ramona, well, I could really surprise them with a message, couldn't I?
I didn't know he's a Sylvanian family member.
Do you want to see what you can get for your 75 quid? Here's an example.
Yeah, please.
Terry, birthday boy, 78 today. I am told. They tell me you've got liver and onions tonight for your dinner. Well, I can't think of anything more British.
I'm glad that the word liver was followed by an onion. It really sounded like he was going to give him a medical diagnosis. It's a special birthday treat. 75 quid for that.
Yeah, but very occasionally, if you get asked by a fan, oh, will you say happy birthday to my mum? I feel a bit better about saying I will for... To be honest, I don't want to say happy birthday to someone I never met. And if you get your wallet out, we can talk about it.
This began as the story that Keir Starmer has apparently been in charge of the Labour Party for a year, most of it spent in lockdown. He's a sort of asymptomatic leader. He's in charge, he just doesn't display any visible signs. Reflecting on Starmer's record as leader, Labour grandee Peter Mandelson stated, "If Keir Starmer had been in charge during the pandemic, it wouldn't be any worse." Thanks for the big up, Peter. Good job New Labour didn't go with D. Ream's B-side. Things will probably stay much the same. The refurbishment of Boris's number 11 flat cost over £200,000, which sounds a lot, but that did include the cost of the exorcism after Dominic Cummings resigned. In a series of tawdry and highly readable revelations in the Daily Mirror, Jennifer Arcuri describes one meeting in a hotel bar when Boris came in holding his helmet. So on to round two, which this week is the jigsaw of news.
That was a few years ago.
That's Ian.
Oh, blimey, Liz. Staring me right in the face.
Yeah, it's Ian.
Fingers on buzzers, teams. What news story is this? Yes, Jack?
I think there was the thing about dogs being right-handed.
He's absolutely correct, yes. Dogs are more likely to be right-pawed than left-pawed.
Yeah, they still don't pick up their own crap with that.
How did researchers come to this conclusion? Do we know how they figured this out?
Because they don't write with their left hand.
Well, the researchers from Lincoln University asked dog owners to hide a treat inside a tube and observe which paw they used to try to retrieve it. Who would like to see a dog interrupting a weather reporter in Russia this week?
Столбики термометров будут показывать на этой неделе до 8 плюс 9 градусов. Ну, судя по всему, связь с нашим корреспондентом прервалась. Сейчас мы снова попытаемся с ней связаться.
Well, she's not got much of a sense of humour, is she?
After rudely interrupting that state broadcast, the Russian dog was given a special Novichok treat. Now living with Laika. Now, sticking with the animal kingdom.
Yes.
What did researchers claim animals also have, previously thought only to apply to humans?
Hairdressers.
Culture. Animals have culture. They came to this realisation by observing a group of chimpanzees in Zambia who began copying trendsetter chimp Julie, who rather jauntily started wearing a piece of grass in her ear. Here she is. Yeah. And 8 other chimps then followed suit.
Oh, so she's an influencer.
And in other animal news, what have bees been trained to do?
This is about accountancy, isn't it? Is it double-entry bookkeeping?
It's not.
No, I've read the wrong story.
They've been trained to find landmines.
Landmine?
Oh, God.
Rather unexpectedly.
Presumably they do like a waggle dance when they found it, right? Because that's the whole thing where they show where the honey is. They do a special dance.
I bet they do a hell of a dance when they find it.
Well, according to Professor Vladimir Rysoyevich, the first step is to condition them to associate the smell of explosives with food. I think it takes a while to move to the second step, but that is then to use drones to follow the bees, find out where they're hovering in the hope of a tasty snack, and investigate to see whether there are any explosives.
Are they left-handed bees?
What I'm getting is that half the world scientists are doing COVID and the other half are going, well, no one's really got anything for us to do, so bees? Anyone for bees?
Yeah, exactly.
Finally, why has this pheasant been given the name Mr. Angry?
Because he has a very placid nature.
Does he just attack people when he sees them?
He attacks one particular Norfolk postman named Kevin Keeler. Let's take a look.
He's becoming a big nuisance now because I see him most days. Certain part of the round he's always there waiting for me. 2 weeks ago he flew waist height at me and knocked all the letters out of my hand. So he's becoming a bit of a problem now. He sees me, he circles me, and then he makes a run for my ankles, dives at them, try and peck them. I don't want to hurt him, but I have to sort of kick him away a little bit, but he won't back off, and he ends up chasing me till I can get in the van, and I'm safe then.
Well, I don't know whether he's angry or amorous. Because it could be the red trousers are setting him off.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it does. I mean, he's dressed like Santa's little helper, isn't he? I don't know why. Yes, this is the news that dogs are more likely to be right-pawed than left-pawed. A Russian weather broadcast was interrupted when a dog stole the journalist's microphone and ran away. Vladimir Putin has already named the dog the new communications minister. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's another one for you. Buzz when you know what it is. Who's that?
That was me and the weary buzz of someone recognising David Cameron's big face after several years of not having had to look at it. So this must be the stories about the money he's been taking from Lex Greensill, named like a Bond villain, that should have been the first clue, who he gave a desk to at the Cabinet Office and a landline, and has since been consulting for since he left office, because he left office with a mere memoir deal, Shepherd's Hut in the Cotswolds, and he couldn't really make any serious money. So he started texting Rishi Sunak trying to get this company loans from the government's business recovery loan scheme. But there may be a small, teensy-weensy problem with some of its accountancy.
You feel like it's really a story of David Cameron being caught being David Cameron.
I mean, it is a tribute to Cameron's foresight that he said the next big scandal in British politics will be lobbying. He was right. And in a sense, he made it happen. Essentially, Lex Greensill, his big idea was that if people pay late between two government departments, why don't I go in the middle, loan one of them the money, take a cut, then pay it afterwards, and they'll both get their money? And the answer is, why doesn't the government just pay the bills on time? To which the answer was, then we don't make money and we can't give each other jobs afterwards. So what would be the point of that?
It's incredible the trouble people go to make money, though, isn't it? I mean, I've got a bike in my shed. It's been for like 4 years, and I can't even bother to put it on eBay. Whereas these guys sitting there, shepherd's huts, coming up with these plans, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
There were a lot of jokes about Mr. Lobby at the time, and looking at this picture, he is just big, pink and ridiculous, isn't he?
He's got used car salesman, hasn't he? He's driving up in that car, but it's full of sawdust in the engine.
We do pay for him to have an office as an ex-leader. So he could answer the questions. I don't know, perfectly reasonable journalistic questions, like, are you a crook?
We should make it clear that David Cameron was cleared in a matter of days by the government's lobbying investigator, Harry Rich. Hence the phrase, when Tories get involved with lobbying scandals, get rich quick. Now, it was Cameron's text to Rishi Sunak that brought this to light, but what serious addiction has Rishi recently given up? Anyone know this?
Gambling?
No. Take a look at this.
I'm a Coke addict, total Coke addict, Coca-Cola addict. Yes, just for the record. Just for the record, just being totally clear. I am a Coca-Cola addict. I have 7 fillings to show for it. So now, yes, exactly. I'm getting in trouble, but no. So I genuinely do have 7 fillings because I got through a lot of the stuff when I was young, which is very bad. So people should not don't do that. But I now have one a week. I'm only allowed one a week now. So. But I'm an enormous Coca-Cola fan. Coke, yes, I won't drink it. No Diet Coke, no Coke Zero, never any Pepsi. And actually, my favourite drink is not even Coke. It's called Mexican Coke. Because you get it, it's this special Coke, which is the only place in the world where Coke is made with cane sugar rather than high fructose corn syrup. For the people that are really interested in this kind of thing.
It was like 2 weeks where everybody said this is the coolest man in British politics, and I present the case for the prosecution, which is that clip, which is the most Alan Partridge thing I've ever seen. Having made a joke about that he's a coke addict, when you go, oh, bless, but no one thought.
Now, and lastly, as we've established, David Cameron, big fan of a shepherd's hut.
Yes.
Now, this caravan has been causing controversy this week. Does anyone know why?
Did he get stuck in the Suez Canal?
Paul, what colour's the caravan?
Well, that side is white.
It's all white?
Has it got blue stripes?
Looks like it's got it may have a blue stripe in it. Yeah, maybe turquoise slightly. I'm not sure. Yeah, perhaps.
I can see pink.
I can see pink and blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
It's actually white and green, but lots of people are saying they see white and blue, white and pink, or even purple and blue.
Are there some scientists behind this?
Interesting, isn't it? This is how the pheasant in Norfolk sees it. This is the news that David Cameron has been embroiled in a lobbying scandal. This scandal centres around Cameron's association with Lex Greensill and Liberty Steel. I don't really understand the story, but I think they're both in Justice League. According to the I newspaper, 66 former ministers and aides in Cameron's cabinet have now taken private work in a related industry. These include, in the world of shipping, Chris Grayling, who presumably now directs traffic through the Suez Canal. Fingers on buzzers, teams!
I think that was something to do with duvet coats. And there's a fashion thing that's the thing.
Is it meant to be pheasant-proof?
It's either that or an airbag has gone off in his face and he get away from the scene of the accident.
Yeah. It's the news you can now buy this very unusual designer coat for just £1,770. How would you describe the coat, Ian?
It looks to me like an enormous inflated gilet of the type I might wear.
Gilets don't have sleeves, do they?
No, you'd cut them off first.
Is it the Michelin Man trying to be an urban gangster?
Well, maybe you just take it off and he's that shape underneath.
Yes. I mean, I'd be tempted to shove a bicycle pump up his trousers and blow the whole lot. Look at it, it's just nonsense.
There is an evening version. There is an evening wear version of it too. This rather fetching design. Here it is.
Parachute.
Very snug for a winter's evening. And everyone would be 2 metres away from you. That's the point of the enormous skirt.
Mind you could have the same effect with a 6-foot-long cattle prod, though, couldn't you?
This coat was a collaboration with renowned fashion designer Rick Owens. Shall we take a look at some of his previous creations? This is from a 2018 collection.
No, that was nice.
And this was 2016.
Oh, I hope they've had their jabs.
Time now for the missing words round, which
lovely.
this week features as its guest publication Harmony Express, the official magazine of the British Association of Barbershop Singers. Note from the editor begins, hello, hello, hello.
Oh, nice.
We should have done that all together, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we
Try
should have,
again.
really.
Note from the editor begins, hello.
Hello.
I didn't join in because it's a quartet.
We start with Blair. Putting me in charge of number 10 was like letting what?
Letting off in a phone box.
Like letting King Herod run a children's home?
Closer.
I know he actually said it's like letting a fan run Manchester United.
Is the correct
which is a football
answer.
club.
Although, unlike New Labour, Man United did at least have one left-winger. Next, if you use a what, then you're probably really old.
Is this the emoji question?
It is, yes.
Right, if you use certain types of emoji...
One particular emoji, which the kids ain't using.
Is it the one of Sir Anthony Eden?
It's the thumbs
Which
up
one?
emoji.
Oh, it's the thumbs up?
Yeah. If you're old, you've got every reason to give a thumbs up. Had the vaccine, got a house. Next, Rod Stewart uses mayonnaise to what?
Is it get his leather trousers on?
No. Mercifully, we don't have to go there.
Is it dye his hair?
It's to style. I'm going to give you that. It's to style his famous spiky hair. Yeah.
What's he put on his lettuce?
Yeah.
Head and shoulders? Take 2 vegetables into the shower, then there's an old reference.
According to The Sun, Rod Stewart spends £6,000 a year on his hair. Really? That's a lot of money to look like my mum's friend Pat. Next, Reg got into barbershop after his wife what on their 25th anniversary?
Smeared Rod Stewart with mayonnaise. Red's gone to barbershop because his wife bought him 3 other men on their 25th anniversary dressed in matching red jackets.
You're pretty close, actually.
Oh, am I?
She hired a quartet.
I had a quartet.
Oh. Yeah. Reg was over the moon when his wife said she'd organised an exciting foursome to celebrate their anniversary. Quickly faded when he answered the door.
Hello.
YouTuber goes viral after cooking a whole chicken by what?
Is it by himself?
He didn't do it by himself. He used a machine.
Oh, washing machine.
No.
Dishwasher.
No.
No.
He cooked a chicken by slapping it 135,000 times. YouTuber Lewis Weiss went viral after building a contraption that managed to cook a chicken by slapping it over and over. Let's have a look.
Ambient temperature is 72. The chicken is currently a crisp 66 degrees. Delicious.
The slapper started out at about 5 slaps per second.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry to see that he's called it a meat beater. I bet he didn't start off with a chicken.
Well, anyway, it's been a lovely barbecue, thank you.
Next, Monkey Magic was a ridiculous name for a barbershop quartet, so it was changed to what?
Baboons in tune.
Take that.
Orangutango.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, orangutango.
Yes, that would be much better than the actual answer, which is the Great British Barbershop Boys. This is a piece about a barbershop album released 10 years ago by the band formerly known as Monkey Magic. Like a lot of bands, they had that familiar problem with the difficult second album. How do you sell copy number 2? And finally, the BBC will broadcast what in the event of a nuclear war?
1 foot in the grave?
It's Pam Ayres. The BBC has chosen Pam as one of its emergency voices to calm the nation in the event of a nuclear catastrophe. It goes something like this. Hello, I'm sorry to be a bore. You're about to die in a nuclear war.
Who's that?
I had to pinch myself then.
So, with that, the final scores. Tell me, Paul and Helen have 5, Ian and Jack have 6. And I leave you with the news that, in Westminster, there's a bittersweet moment as Jeremy Corbyn walks along Downing Street. In Paris, the French government released images from their trial of AstraZeneca on the over-50s. And as more people are able to meet loved ones outdoors, there's an emotional reunion for Peter Crouch and his family. Good night.
No need to say goodnight to David just yet. He's joined by his best friend, or maybe just friend, Michael Sheen. Staged Series 1 and 2 is streaming now on BBC iPlayer.